Hey, this is Jack from Brook Royal, and you are listening to the Blues Hockey Podcast. Let's go, Blues!
Welcome back to the Blues Hockey Podcast. I'm your host, Jason, along with Chris.
Hi.
Hi. Monotone and boring.
Oh, wait.
Anyway.
You're the monotone and boring one. Hey, Jason.
Yeah, be upbeat. Hey, what's going on?
I'm good.
Anyway, sorry. Me and Chris are just we were just reading some reviews from iTunes. So anyway, some good ones. So thanks to all our families and friends who apparently just rated us and made nobody else.
All of our family and friends. So many friendly friends.
Yeah, it's just funny. Anyway, we won't get into that. We'll talk about hockey. We'll try to be upbeat here. The Blues started off well since our last podcast and kind of went downhill. It kind of started off strong and slowly went down.
I mean, I think you can say that about all three games we're going to talk about.
I think to a degree you're right. So Blues news. Let's do the Blues news. We're getting to the recap. Not much going on. Just some little minor league transactions going on. Chris Thorburn got called up and Chris Butler got sent down, which we talked about the end of the last podcast.
Yep.
Well, now Chris Thorburn got into one game due to Jaden Schwartz getting hurt. Schwartz had to sit out the last two games that we're talking about. Looks like he'll be good for this week, though. Chris Thorburn, how much do you think Chris Thorburn played in that game in the Chicago game? How much did Chris Thorburn play?
I got to be honest. I can't remember seeing his number on the ice at all.
You're correct, because he played 1 minute and 52 seconds in the first period and didn't play the rest of the game.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Which caused the Blues. Next game, Vince Dunn was sat unceremoniously, in my opinion, this last week.
I don't understand that move at all.
They said they want to get Jurabek in, who looked lost in the Calgary game. In Chicago game, and looked real bad.
I think you could say that.
No, it was the Calgary game, because it was the last Chicago game where Dunn got sat after the overtime gaffe that he had.
You know what? I think that someone on defense looking real bad could be said for a great many of our defensemen right now.
Yeah. There's which hopefully after we get done with this, I encourage Chris and encourage everybody else to check out the article on The Athletic by Jeremy Rutherford. He had an anonymous ex-NHL defenseman analyze the Blues and some clips from the Blues about how their defense is, and it's very interesting on what he thinks. Basically said they're basically the synopsis is they're playing a modified man-to-man, and he's like, that died after the lockout in 2004, 2005. So it's real interesting he says they're tiring themselves out by the third period, which,
I mean, you can see it.
You can see it. But after he said that, I'm like, wow, that's
every game that we're going to talk about, the Blues have had the lead in the third period. 2 of the 3, they coughed it up. And the one that they did win, they tried their damnedest to cough it up.
Yeah. So we will get into those games. So, and then today we're recording on the 16th of October. The next transaction with the San Antonio Rampage is Chris Thorburn got sent down. He did not require waivers this time because he was on the Blues roster less than 30 days. And he played less than, I forgot how many games. I think it's like less than 5 games in 30 days. And whatever it is, like you can get sent down without waivers if you required it before. So Chris Thorburn is sent down. Zach Sanford, who is playing very well for the San Antonio Rampage with 2 goals in 4 games, is called up. So it looks like they're going to try somebody who can play more than 2 minutes a game in the game eventually.
Well, here's hoping.
Schwartz looks like he was on number 1 power play unit today at practice. So it looks like he's coming back. The other good news is it sounds like we are darn close to being 100% healthy. Shoshnikov, I got it right finally. Fabry and Gunnarsson.
You can't say Fabry's name. If you say his name, he's going to break a leg.
Yeah, but he was on the ice today, along with Carl Gunnarsson. So they are all going on this current road trip, which starts in Montreal tomorrow night, the 17th. And they got a couple more after that. they're all going on it, which is encouraging, which makes me think that they might be close to game ready. So
Man,
you're
I
gonna
hope
see
so.
you're gonna see a lot of roster moves in the next, I think, week and a half, 2 weeks.
I would
A lot of decisions need to be made, basically.
I would agree with that. I would say both from just a sheer amount of people move, and I would say you're going to start seeing moves made if things don't change in outcomes of games.
Yep, and also Oscar Sundquist also skated today too. So you're talking everybody's going to get in. I mean, he's probably going to wind up getting sent down, or he'll be the extra guy, depending on how they do with Sanford. So a lot of stuff's going on. So let's get into the game recaps. So first off, the Blues are playing their, I believe, it would be third home game so far, and they're playing, excuse me, the Calgary Flames, who come in playing pretty decent so far. They've had a couple of, they had a big roster turnover in the offseason as well.
Yep.
A lot of the big trade with Carolina. They brought in James Neal, who made an impact this game. So after this game, they're 2-1 going into this game. So let's see how they do. So,
and I believe I read a stat prior to this game that the Blues had never started a season 0-3.
I believe you're correct there.
Well,
so
I say 0-3 because technically, even had they
over.
lost this game, they wouldn't be 0-3. But winless in their first three.
Yeah, I think you're correct there. Okay. So did not start off great, as we just talked about. The James Neal gets a goal from Sam Bennett and I'll say Doobie or Doob. Well, I'll say Doobie because it's more fun to say. At 7:32 of the first period, and for once the Blues countered and got a goal very quickly back.
Yeah,
this is what
they normally do.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually they lay back and take their time. It seems like but they struck quickly, and Alexander Steen gets his first of the year from Jordan Kyrou, who made a really good play here and uses speed to go basically straight up the middle from his own blue line after he made a pass to Bouwmeester and give and go, basically, and got into the zone, dished it to Steen, who beat Mike Smith underneath his catching arm, his left arm. So maybe a weak goal. Your thoughts?
I mean,
savable.
It's savable. Look, I'm trying not to beat up on Allen too much. I think that the goal was savable, but in the grand scheme of things, of some of the stuff we saw in the first two games, it was a great shot. I mean,
I missed the James Neal one, so.
So I mean, look, I think that that's a goal he wants to have back, probably, but it's not like it was a goal that it was an unexcusable goal.
Mm. So the Blues tie it, luckily, on Steen's goal, and then they come back less than 2 minutes later. A really good play by Schwartz along the left boards right before the Calgary blue line to keep it in the zone. Shen steals it, and you think he's going to pass because he really doesn't have a passing lane, but he somehow snuck this puck between a defenseman sliding, another defenseman's stick, and the goalie Mike Smith, and David Perron gets his first goal back with the Blues.
Yeah.
His first of the year from Shen. Fan favorite David Perron gets his first of the year at the 9:48 mark. Blues take a 2-1 lead. It's not their first lead at home. It did lead in the Chicago game. But everything's looking good. And later on in the period, Robert Thomas uses his speed to get in the zone and throws a puck in front. And Barbashev gets a piece of it, but is quickly checked. But Joel Edmondson's falling out the play and buries it home for his first of the year. His basically first game of the year since he was out with a groin strain. Hit 17:22 mark. So Barbashev and Thomas. So the two rookies in the first period get their first NHL points. So that was good to see. Any thoughts about the first period?
I liked how quickly the Blues responded to the Calgary goal, especially coming off of that overtime loss versus Chicago, where they had the lead late and then lost it, went into overtime, and fought hard at overtime, but, turned it over and Taves on a breakaway and buries it. I was afraid, as we've seen many times with this team over the years, that once they start to fall behind, it starts to just become an avalanche and just negative begets negative begets negative. And I'm not going to lie, when we went down early, part of me was like, well, here we go. It's going to be another 5-1 loss. But I liked the resilience that this team showed. Not only did I like the resilience in getting the goal right back, they didn't let up. They kept pushing. Leaving that period 3-1 was pretty great. What I liked was that the Blues got stronger as the period continued. It wasn't one of those where we had just, a 3 or 4 minute span where we looked really good and then the rest we played even. We continued to get stronger as that period progressed.
Yeah, which is a good change of pace compared to where they were playing the first couple of games. So they get into the second period now, and Blues get a couple power plays here. So early on, they get a power play goal from David Perron from Shin and Steen at the 4:05 mark.
That's fan favorite David Perron, second of the night.
Correct. He and this was kind of a really bad play by Mike Smith, who went behind the net to get the puck, and Shen was already there and kind of knocked it by Smith over to David Perron, who had a wide open goal with nobody around. So one of the easiest goals he'll have in his career. So his second of the night, second of the season, and he finishes off the hat trick at the 19:24 mark. His third goal of the game, third goal of the season, as I said. Shen, another assist from Schwartz as well. A point shot that hit a defenseman's stick on the way and changed. It went right underneath the pads of Mike Smith. David Perron will take it. Fans are throwing hats on the ice. A very cool sight to see. The Blues are up.
Living together.
Yeah, 5-1. All is well with Blues fans. Everybody's, Jake Allen's playing solid. Then the third period comes around. True.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because last show we were really, really critical of him. Jake Allen made some fantastic saves in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Through the first two periods, especially the second half of the first period and the second period, this team played as the team we expected to see all year.
Yeah, it was nice to see that how everything was kind of gelling together, like everything was coming together finally. And mind you, the top and then you don't hear much about the top line this game, but they were really effective. Like O'Reilly, Tarasenko, and I think Maroon was there for a while. Steen got moved up every once in a while, but that line, I think O'Reilly and Tarasenko are starting to really get some chemistry. And I think the goals and points are going to come. Like, he's already gotten some, but they looked really good in most of the games together. So I really like the way that's going. So I think as the season goes along, that's a good storyline to keep an eye on. O'Reilly's doing well in all facets of the game so far, winning a ton of faceoffs. He's still in the 60% tile, and during this game he's in the high 60s. He's still at 68% overall, which is crazy. He was at 73% for a while.
Yep.
So he dropped a little bit, but still 68% of faceoffs is great.
Doing exactly what you wanted him to do when you traded for him.
Yeah, because you win faceoffs, you get puck control, and you can create chances that way. So let's get to the third period, where we kind of alluded to it, where the Blues kind of let their foot off the gas, which, tell me if you heard that once or twice before.
I mean, just a few times.
So Derek Ryan gets a one-timer here after a turnover in the blue zone from Zarnik and Matthew Tkachuk at the 8:17 mark. So 5-2 Calgary. You're like, all right, that happens. Like, it was basically he was wide open in the slot and just one-timed a shot. So his first with the Calgary Flames after he signed from Carolina in the offseason. Michael Backlund gets his first year from Giordano and Lindbaum at the 11:04 mark, making it 5-3. And there was a little momentum going. And I'll be honest with you, I had that pit of the stomach feeling where you're like, uh-oh.
Oh, for sure.
And it was, and like, mind you, I'm not going to point this out too. On both goals, I thought Jake Allen didn't have a chance because the defense was basically letting him down.
I agree. And that's something I wanted to talk about once we got to the end of this game was I don't think that any of those goals you could put on Allen. It's becoming a big problem. And I believe it was either after this game or after the Chicago game, they pointed out the number of shots on goal the Blues have given up through, it was either the first 3 or 4 games. And it's staggering. It was, at the time, the second highest in the NHL.
Yeah, I believe they're the highest after the Chicago game.
And this is a team that for a long, many years has prided itself on not giving up shots on goal. Yeah, it's a problem. It's a real problem what's happening right now with our defense, specifically because it's the one aspect of the game that I think ownership, coaching, and fans didn't think needed to be addressed.
Yeah.
It was the one, gold star on the report card was our defense. Say what you will about the offense not scoring goals or the power play being bad, and say what you want about Jake Allen and the goaltending situation, but the one shining thing on this team was its defense. And I would say through these first 5 games, the defense is the biggest issue.
Yep. I would agree with that. And like I said, definitely check out the article by Jeremy Rutherford, where I thought that was a really great breakdown of not only stat-related stuff, but also apparently ex-NHL defenseman who told them what was going on, what he saw. And I thought it was really interesting on the Blues are unfortunately leading the way on, there's a Corsi stat that's out there, basically like high danger chances. And the Blues have given up the third most, but the goalies also have the worst save percentage at 73% of those. So they're basically, like we talked about in past, they're not coming with that big save on that grade A chance that, the opposite team's getting. They're not making that, save to get the bail out the team. That's not happening.
Right.
And which we kind of talked about.
And that also speaks to something that we talked about the last podcast too, which is, let's go back to the season opener against Winnipeg, where, we outshot Winnipeg, but how many of those shots were legitimate scoring chances? I would much rather have quality of shots than quantity. And it seems like with the Blues defensively right now, not only are we giving up a lot of shots in quantity, but we're giving up legitimately dangerous shots. We're not just giving up, shots that are getting flung in from the sideboards and hoping for a redirect or, a rebound from the other side. We're giving up a lot of big-time scoring chances. And that's problematic this early in the year, especially when you're talking about a team that has veteran leadership on the blue line, that it just seems like over the course of this offseason, we've forgotten how to shut down other teams.
Yeah, which was kind of a hallmark of Ken Hitchcock teams where you would only get maybe 20 shots against.
Right.
Maybe there's some good chances mixed in there, and then but you're kind of didn't have the greatest offense on top of that because you're really focused on defense. So you got to take the good with the bad, but at the same time, the power play is clicking. The power play is clicking, and the offense seems to be kind of clicking at times.
The offense has gotten better with each game.
Yeah,
but the defense
has gotten worse.
Yeah, the defense is just not there. I mean, we can get into it deeper. You and I have been talking almost daily about the fact that, and God bless him, we've both been, proponents of this guy for the longest time, but I think it's safe to say that Jay Bouwmeester's best days are long behind him at this point.
Yeah, I think it's that preseason stuff that we talked about that quickly disappeared, and he is not. The other problem is, and this is a coaching thing for me, he is not, as we talked about, we agreed on this, he's not a top pairing guy anymore.
No,
he's getting played with right now. He's getting played with Pietrangelo every game, which is dumb.
Walked almost every time that a team brings the puck in on the rush and they come in on his side, he's getting walked around almost every time. Now, look, I agree that what he still brings to this team is great on the penalty kill. He's able to get the puck and get it out. But
outside of that, he's a third pairing guy. Simple as that.
Second at best. And then the other thing is, and maybe I'm more critical of him than I should be because of his role in this team, but I have been very, largely unimpressed with Alex Pietrangelo's game through 5 games.
Yep, he is
so many times,
career worst right now, -5.
So many times I watch the puck come to the point, be it on a power play or just as they cycle around. And like I made the joke to you the other day, Petro couldn't hold the puck in if you paid him to do it. Oh, wait, they actually do pay him to do it.
Yeah, he's struggled real badly as we get into the Anaheim game where his glaring mistake looks like it cost the Blues the game.
100% it did.
Yeah.
And it just like it seems like there are two things that we talk about year in and year out when it comes to our defense. And that is, number one, the inability to hold the puck in the offensive zone. And number two, the inability to clear the puck out of our defensive zone.
Yep.
It bites us in our ass every year. And I was thinking back, the last defenseman that I had absolute confidence that could hold the puck in the zone on offense was Kevin Shattenkirk.
Yep, I agree on that one. That's because that's what he was really good at.
That's what he
good on the other end. Wasn't good on the other end, but he was really good offensive.
On the defensive end, but he was great at keeping it in the zone on the point.
Yep. So let's get into the Chicago game. And before we get into Chicago, what was our friend Raffy say?
I was like, you go fuck yourselves, Chicago.
There we go. So Blues did not start off great here. About halfway through the first, Arben Isimov gets his first of the year from Sada and Kuhn at the, I think that's how you say Cahoon? Whatever. 11:51. Yeah, 11:51 of the first. And Patrick Kane gets another one about 5 minutes later. His fifth unassisted on the power play. This is where the Blues' inability to, we talked about, to clear the puck happened. And guys are diving everywhere. And Kane just takes the puck after everybody's scrambling. There's at least, I think, 3 Blues on the ground diving, and Jake Allen is all over the place trying to find the puck, and Kane buries it. Mind you, I say this, and I'm thinking I'm going off on Jake Allen there. I'm not, because this would be a solid 4 to 5 nothing game if it wasn't for Jake Allen during this period.
For sure.
23 shots the Blues let up this period. This period, not like,
that's
mind you, they were
total in years past.
Yeah, then mind you, the Blues had 4 penalties this period. I didn't get to see all this, but I saw parts of it, and it wasn't great from what I could see.
The Blues played with their heads up their ass for the first period. It was, I think, it might be the single worst period of hockey that they've had this season.
Excuse me, three penalties that period. Bouwmeester, and all defensemen, Bouwmeester, Edmondson, and Bortuzzo all had penalties this period. So
and honestly, I think all 3 of those penalties came from them getting beat and chasing the play and making a bad penalty.
Yeah, so really not a great start. So we get into the second period, and and they didn't look great either because they were stuck on these. How many was it with the shots? They had 10 shots. They were stuck on 11 shots almost till Braden Shen got this goal.
Yeah.
And Braden Shen got this goal at the 12:35 mark. So I would say halfway through the period, so halfway through the game, they were stuck on 11 shots, and Chicago was almost at 30.
Yep.
And not looking great, but Shen scores his first year from Schmaltz and Tarasenko. So Jordan Schmaltz gets an assist after getting back into the game due to they took Jirabek out because he did not play well, basically. He's on the ice for, I think, all 3 of the Calgary goals, so they took him out. Schmaltz back in, and Dunn is out as well still.
Man, I don't get whose Wheaties Dunn took a crap in to get put in the doghouse, because I thought that he has been a very active and productive member of this team through the very early stages.
Yeah, according to Mike Yeo, he said it wasn't just the overtime gaffe against Chicago where he tried to force that shot, which sprang Taves for the goal. He said they didn't think he was performing up to standards during the preseason as well, and it was just a culmination of things. As you can tell, Dunn was not happy with the being sad as they tried to get multiple interviews with him, it's good to see. I'll say that much. He said no comment when multiple reporters asked him for a quote about why he wasn't playing. So he said no comment.
Up about it.
Yeah, so he was pissed.
People on this team had that fire.
Yeah, so it's great that he at least had that. So the period wraps up, and at the time, the shots are now almost 40 shots, 39-22. Jake Allen is keeping this game a one-goal game somehow. And you're thinking, well, hopefully the Blues can do something. And I don't know what Las Vegas did to David Perron, but I think it is pretty great because he got his 4th of the year unassisted off a turnover.
I was going to say, called that goal he got in the Calgary game the easiest goal of his career. This would be the second easiest.
Yeah, off a nice turnover and a nice forechecking play by him as well. So a power play goal by him. And this is where we kind of get caught up on the penalties now. And Chicago starts to get a bunch of penalties this period. And Braden Jen gets his second from Steen and Parayko at the 4:47 mark. Another power play goal. Like I said, the one lone bright spot we can talk about is the power play is so much improved. Like
yes.
they're doing really well off that. So I can at least say that much, which is great. So
I wish that they would shoot more.
Yeah, it seems like it's a lot of passing, looking for like the perfect shot, basically.
Yeah. But, I mean, that being said, the thing that you have to like about this power play, and I think you can look directly at Ryan O'Reilly and Tyler Bozak for this, is we are winning faceoffs in the offensive zone on the power play.
So, like I said, everything looks like it's going well. The Blues are doing well, but then Alex DeBrincat gets his 5th of the year from Taves and Keith, 13:06 mark. Like we talked about last game, DeBrincat seems to be like a steal in the draft. Drafted 4 or 5 spots after, I can't tell you the exact thing, after Jordan Kyrou, because he's actually shorter than Jordan Kyrou. Because there's a lot of people who say Kyrou's short. Alex DeBrincat's like 3 or 4 inches shorter than him.
Yeah.
So
all he does is score, though.
Yeah. So and as you allude to there, he does in overtime. The 6th of the year from Gustafsson and Anisimov. At the 4:51 mark overtime, just 9 seconds left, he gets the Chicago Blackhawks, who in their 5th game have played their 5th overtime game.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and so they're 3-2 in overtime. So they are living and dying by overtimes right now. So I don't expect that to last. I'm not taking anything away from them, but they keep pressing everything overtime. Eventually, it's going to catch up to you. Like, they're scoring in bunches right now because their goaltending hasn't been great. If they get Crawford back, maybe something will happen, but I just don't see them living and dying by this. I think eventually that's going to go by the wayside.
I felt extraordinarily bad for Jake Allen after this game because as critical as everyone has been on Jake Allen, and justifiably so, through the first 3 games of this season, boy, that dude earned his money against Chicago Saturday night. And he kept this team in it when they couldn't score. And, if not for Jake Allen, this game would have been over in the first period, and it would have been 3 or 4-0, and then 5-6-1 at one point. And it's just, this team finds new and incredible ways to blow it. And we'll talk about it more once we get on the other side of this last game. But I really felt for Jake Allen, man, because he finally had that game that you need him to, where he could steal you a game. He did his part.
He stole him a point. He stole him a point for sure.
For sure. But there's so many problems when it comes to this team's inability to put a game away.
Yeah, it's extremely frustrating to say the least. As we'll talk about once again, the Blues come back home on a back-to-back here, play Anaheim the next day. Anaheim was doing very, very well so far. Surprisingly, with all the injuries they have, they're out with Corey Perry, Getzlav, a couple other. Nick Ritchie has not signed yet, so they're out a lot of guys, but still playing well. So that Ryan Kessler is amazingly playing right now. They expected him not to play this season at all, and he's already back playing. So I don't know, miracle recovery or whatever, but he's back and playing. I thought the Blues was seriously outplayed Anaheim and it controlled the game up until this point. Unfortunately, a bad break here as Edmondson took a shot that hits off of a Ducks player, And Jakob Silverberg, who's has some speed, blows by the defense for a breakaway, and making his first start of the game, Chad Johnson, and unfortunately gets beat on the breakaway glove side. Jakob Silverberg with his third of the year from, I'll say, Comtoy and Lindholm at the 18:21 mark. So I thought the Blues were playing them really great here. I thought they had basically one of the best looking power plays I've seen them ever have without actually getting a goal. It was amazing to see, but they did not get a goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So old friend Ryan Miller is in for the Ducks.
I'm familiar with that name.
Yeah, we're hoping, like we said on Twitter, we're hoping not for a Ryan Miller shutout, which everybody might know is a late goal against when you're pitching a shutout and you get one goal in. So you always look by just the one goal. So we're hoping the Blues will do more than that. And they seem to do that in the second period. And Alexander Steen gets his second of the year from Edmondson and Tarasenko for a little redirection. So at the 11:49 mark, the Blues tie the game up, have some life, get a power play, and Tyler Bozak gets his first as a Blue right in front of the net from Patrick Maroon at the 15:52 mark. Blues take the lead. From these two periods, maybe if you want to comment more on it, but I thought they really kind of controlled the game. And outside of the one goal from Silverberg, which was a breakaway, there really wasn't too many high danger chances in the first two periods. And Chad Johnson made the saves that he had to. There might have been one or two difficult saves, maybe, but he made those saves. And I thought he looked really good.
Yeah, I did too. I thought that, like you said, there were a couple of times where the Ducks threatened, and I thought he could have been in a little better position. But at the end of the day, the defense did bail him out a couple times. He got the angles he needed to. I thought that I thought that Johnson was more than serviceable in this role coming on the back half of a back-to-back game.
Yep. So the Blues go into the third period, and Ben Street unfortunately ties it up, his second of the season from Manson and Fowler. This is off a play where the Blues had a couple icings in a row, and I believe it was Bozak who had the face-off loss, pulls it back, and it was Shen. There was some confusion here, which if you read, like, I'm pimping this out once again, the article from Jeremy Rutherford, where there was Shen didn't go out to the point, and he covered the defenseman, so the point was pretty much left wide open, and Manson's got a pretty good shot, and let it rip, and Ben Street got a deflection to beat Chad Johnson. So unfortunately tied up there. And then the big one, Andrew Cogliano gets his first of the year from Kessler and Lindholm at the 14:44 mark, a power play goal. The big thing about this is the Blues were pretty much killing this power play off really easily. The puck was behind the net. Alex Pietrangelo had literally nobody around him. Went to clear it, plain whiffed on it. And turned the puck over to Kessler, who quickly threw it across to a charging Cogliano, who buried it. Once again, Chad Johnson, I don't think really had a shot at this one.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so and you kind of, like, as soon as you saw him whiff the puck, it was kind of like one of those things where I watched it in slow motion in my head, and you just knew that was coming. Like, you just had that feeling. As soon as he whiffed on a puck, you're like, okay, it's in the back of the net, and then boom, boom, back of the net. And the Blues dropped this one 3-2. So after 5 games, let's say the panic alarms are alive and well among Blues fans. 1-2-2, and they haven't looked great in most of those games. Honestly, you can say maybe the Calgary game for 2/3 of that game they look pretty good, but outside the other 4 games haven't been great. The opening night game wasn't great. Both the Chicago games where they blew leads, out of 5 games they've blown 4 leads they've had, and 3 of those have been in third period.
It's a problem.
That's something that's happened for a long time, and I've seen articles from Blues fans and different other Blues fans and bloggers saying, "Hey, we need to make changes, or the coach needs to go." Hey, it's early, don't worry about it. Our buddy Phil Maroon pointed out that last year Washington went 5-6-1 to start, and somebody else went whatever, and they went to the finals. Who knows? I mean, all that might be true. It was just I don't know how Washington looked in that 5-6-1 time period. They could have just had some bad luck losses. They could have looked like crap and barely got 5-6-1. I don't know. All I know is that this team, you can tell, needs work. Will they be able to snap out of it? Who knows? Is it too early? I'll pose the question to you. Let's just say this continues and the Blues flounder around the 500 mark. Do you make a coaching change? If you do, when do you make the coaching change? If they say they're 500 for,
I think you've got 20 games.
It's about Thanksgiving. I was going to say about Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and let me preface this by saying I don't think that it's Yo's fault, but I think that you have to make a change. This is a very expensive team. I believe it's the second most expensive team in the NHL.
As of right now, we have no cap room. Yes.
And something is wrong. I am not a proponent of blaming the coach for everything. I feel like that has been the Blues' MO for decades. It seems it's blame the coach, be it Quinville or whoever down the line. We always seem to let the coach take the blame, and it's dude, I don't know how to fix it. I mean, we have changed coaches, we have turned over rosters, we have done everything. There is a culture problem in the St. Louis Blues, and it has been a problem as long as I have been a fan. With the exception of the year that this team went to the conference final, and I'll even say that year because they don't know how to close out. Because if they did, they wouldn't have gone 7 against Chicago. They wouldn't have gone 7 against Dallas. I don't know what the problem is, Jason. And I don't know if this team knows what the problem is. But, dude, there's something wrong. And Yo's going to lose his job if this doesn't change.
Do you think it's I'll give you a couple of questions and you can say yes or no or what you think. Do you think they're buying into their hype? Like Blues fans are like, everybody's hyping them up about such a great offseason. Look at this team. This team's going places. Do you think they're like, oh, yeah, it will all work? And they're just –
I don't know, man, because I feel like we asked this same question 2 years ago during the 50th anniversary season.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of different things I've seen thrown out there.
Here's the thing, and I think I'm going to take this back to something that Ken Hitchcock used to say all the time. And at the end of the day, it's the truth. Your best players need to be your best players every night. And that doesn't happen on this team.
Yeah, it's true.
Alex Pietrangelo, Vladimir Tarasenko, Jake Allen. Like, if you are one of the top guys in your position, and that right there is our number one goalie, our number one defenseman, and our number one forward, you've got to be better. Plain and simple. You have to. There's a reason why Drew Doughty is getting paid what he gets paid and wins the awards he gets awarded and wins Stanley Cups. That dude brings it night in and night out. And I'm not saying that Petro doesn't, but good Lord, that man seems to have some massive mental lapses. And just seems like it doesn't bother him. And I think that's something that was brought up in an article a couple years ago, was that Petro seems to be one of those guys who, when the game's over, he just moves on. And there's positive about that, and there's negative about that.
Yeah.
For me, personally, as a fan, I want my captain, I want the leader of my defense to take it a little personally when the defense is letting down our goaltender all the time. I think that, again, and we talked about this last year, and I think even the year before, David Backes, while he was not God amongst hockey players, had that leadership factor where he wouldn't let shit like this slide. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he would have called people to the carpet. He would have had a closed door meeting. He would have figured this out.
Yeah,
and I don't see that fire in many people in this lineup. I'm not saying people are playing for a paycheck. I think there might be a couple, but I don't think that this team's mailing it in. I just don't think that we have many leaders in this locker room. I think we have a bunch of guys who have talent, but no one who wants to step up and go, follow me, let's go. David Backus did that. I don't think Vladimir Tarasenko's that guy. I think he's more than happy to go out and play his best game, but I don't think Vladimir Tarasenko's the guy who's going to go, it's time to win now. Now, to be fair, Alex Ovechkin wasn't that guy for a long time either.
Yeah, it took him how many years to kind of be not the guy, but you see the guy that he just got fired up and was
right.
Vocal and stuff. He very deferred to people and stuff like that. So
do I think that they're believing their own hype? I would hope after these 5 games where you're 1-2-2 and everyone else around you in the professional hockey world, be it players, teams, and writers, have already started to write you off, that you would understand there's no hype left. But I don't know what it is, Jason. I truly don't. And I think that is where you see the frustration so early with the fan base, is it just seems like, here we go again. Same crap, different season.
Yeah. And
it usually takes the Blues 25, 30 games to get to this point. And now we're dealing with it right out of the bat.
Yeah, Blues were very there's a lot, like we talked about, high expectations, and like I thought this team had a chance to get into the playoffs for sure. Could they make some noise in the playoffs? If things went perfect. If things went perfect, yes.
I don't even think things had to be perfect. I mean, we obviously know that when you're talking about the Central Division, you're talking about Nashville and Winnipeg and then the rest of the division. But that being said, do I think that the Blues can hang with those two teams? Absolutely.
Yeah, if they play their game and they play well and not be they played in the last 5 games, I think they definitely can. So they go on their first road trip. So hopefully, maybe they can get away from Scott trade, and maybe that will help out. People always say going on road trips helps bonding and stuff like that. Maybe it'll help the whole everybody coming together thing. They're going on their little minor Canada swing here. The surprising Montreal Canadiens are 3-1-1 somehow.
Yep.
After everybody kind of wrote them off, we're playing them on Wednesday, October 17th. And the team that everybody's picking to win the cup, pretty much, the Toronto Maple Leafs, are 6-1 so far, and they're scoring a ton of goals.
As you expected.
And they play them Saturday, the 20th, and then we get a rematch against Winnipeg at Winnipeg on Monday, the 22nd, on this little road trip. So hopefully the Blues can get their stuff together. They needed to get, I would say, for this road trip to be successful, I would really like 4 out of 6 points.
Good luck with that.
That's going to be a tough call. Montreal's, to me, is the easiest one of those 3. Mind you, Winnipeg has played 5 games as well. They're not that much. They're only 3-2. So, I mean, it's not like Winnipeg, expected to roll teams. They haven't really rolled teams yet either. So, I mean, the Blues are sitting there with 4 points in 5 games, and Winnipeg has 6 points in 5 games. So you're really just behind Winnipeg. The one that's rolling right now is Chicago, who has 8 points. So, and like I said, I kind of expect them to come back down to earth eventually. But we'll see. Other Blues news during this game: Robert Bortuzzo got hurt, so he's out with a lower body injury. Skated today, unknown if he'll play. He was on the 4th set of defensemen, so it looks like he's maybe not 100% ready, but at least skating. I suspect Schmaltz to slide in there probably. And we'll see from there. Dunn was back in on the top 6. He was on the 3rd pairing again. So it looks like he's maybe working his way back into the good graces. Sanford was switching out with Robert Thomas. So who knows if Sanford gets in and Thomas gets sat for a game maybe. I don't know. So like I said, they play Montreal tomorrow, the 17th. We'll see how they do it there. So let's go ahead and wrap it up there. So if you want to get a hold of us on Twitter, it's at Blues Hockey NHL.
I'm at Hossapalooza.
And if you want to find us on Facebook, it's Blues Hockey Podcast. Same goes with Instagram. and our website, blueshockeypodcast.com and .net, to listen there or and find where to listen to us, which is iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and YouTube. Me and Chris are going to work on some stuff here that we're going to get on YouTube pretty soon. Just some exclusive stuff just for that site that you'll be able to get, and we'll let you guys know when that's released. So I think I nailed everything so far, except for our shirt, Glass Bangers, that, like we said, I think it's a really cool shirt.
I do too. You've still got about 2-3 weeks left I would say 2 weeks left to order it if you want to get it in time to wear it for WWE night.
Yeah, which is November 3rd against the Minnesota Wild. Chris and I will be there. I did interact with a couple people on Twitter today asking about it, and a couple people on Facebook over the weekend asking about it. So I sent everybody the links. We would like to get people together for say hi and thank you when we're at the game for that WWE night. So, like I said, I know as we get closer to the date, I'm sure there's going to be more and more rumblings about the night. People talking about it on Twitter. I'm going to have fun. So,
woo!
Oh man, and we just had about 25 people tune out. So,
good.
Yeah. So, I think that'll wrap it up for us. Look for us next week here, and we'll talk to you then.
See ya.